Shout out to Joe Hendry.
Yes.
So he says right now, I'm in a situation, this is a quote, I'm in a situation where having historic collaboration between TNA Wrestling and WWE. We're in a situation where TNA have worked it out with WWE where I can appear on TNA as a contracted talent. I can appear on NXT, and I can train at the Performance Center full-time and do indies and do signings. This is unprecedented. It's never been done before in the business, so thank you to TNA and WWE for figuring it out. Yeah, it is unprecedented because, I mean, who would have thought a TNA contracted superstar would have had the, well, pretty much all of his appearances, but specifically the concert that they promoted.
Yeah.
And that they would have given that to somebody that was a non-WWE superstar, and the concert was great.
Yeah, they literally promoted him the week before without him even being there.
Right.
Like, it's not like he showed up and made the announcement. It was a video package.
And we talked about it, the way they've teased him on main roster shows, the way they've teased him in so many different spaces. Like, clearly the buy-in is there, and I think it's. I know we've talked a little bit about like the Forbidden Door maybe only opening one way, but I mean, who has the leverage in this situation? Naturally,
of course,
the
it's
WWE.
yeah.
So I'm sure TNA is like, okay, well, while we might have liked for you to send back maybe something a little different than the Rascals or other things, but we understand that.
Although that's also awesome.
That's been amazing.
Yeah.
Loved it. But I think they're like, okay, this is one of our stars who we are figuring out what to do with. We had talked about recently, we thought he was going to get the belt. They obviously pivoted and put it on Nick Nemeth. But I wonder if they're thinking...
I think he's still going to get the belt because October is Bound for Glory, which is TNA's
is
WrestleMania.
the big one, yeah.
So I think that's where he's getting the belt.
So even that, and I think they're also maybe like, hey, we got Joe Hendry being built as a star already. We can put the belt on Nick Nemeth because that also helps.
Right.
So I think even from TNA, you can see obviously the huge benefits they're getting on front of the camera and behind the scenes. But it's been awesome. And Joe Hendry, kudos to him because he's been handpicked for this.
Yeah.
Like, clearly this is something that whether they planned it and were like, hey, we really want to rally around this one guy, I think it was more the opposite. They saw his potential and like, that's the guy. Let's fit the role around him instead of fit him into a role. But clearly it shows how much they trust him on both sides, how much they see a future with him. And also ultimately, a lot of these guys' aspirations and, men and women's aspirations are to go to the WWE. So I'm sure TNA is fully understandable of that. And they're like, hey, if we can get a nice little rub out of this, why not?
Right. I fully expect, I don't know when his TNA contract is up, but I fully expect when it's up, he'll be a signed WWE talent.
Oh, 100. I think it's inevitable at this point.
Yeah.
But also, I'm almost looking at TNA and NXT as like a National League, American League type situation.
Kind of, yeah.
Right?
like
they're not under the same parent company, but like if that door is open, and I think it eventually will open both ways. I think it eventually will. Maybe not like as extreme as TNA is to NXT.
Right,
but
you're not going to see like a women's champion showing up on TNA more than likely.
No, but I think you will see.
I think eventually you will see
a combination of belts.
Oh, I agree. I think there's a great chance. They announced this week MSK are going to be challenging for the tag team titles. I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Yeah.
And the NXT tag title starts showing up on TNA.
I could see that happening for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where it's like. American League, National League is kind of my best way to put it, where it's like...
And we love interleague baseball.
And we love some interleague. And, these are all things where seemed impossible 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
It makes sense.
18 months ago.
Right.
Think of, and I know this is something we want to get into in a second, but think of the opportunities that now those, WWE and NXT primarily wrestlers get to now work with Joe Hendry. It's another person you get to put in the ring with them and get to train with them and do all these different things. So he's also benefiting everyone else he's been in the ring with because, like you mentioned before we started and we've talked about before, Joe Hendry's not new to the wrestling game.
No.
He's been around for a very, very long time. He's now just seeing some of that mainstream success because he's getting that opportunity in the big leagues.
Right.
So I think it's awesome for him to also be doing a little bit of teaching and working with the younger.
That's a great point. I didn't even think of him with his experience now being at the Performance Center is great for those college kids that they signed that have no wrestling experience. He can absolutely be a great, sounding board for them to bounce ideas off of or to just listen to if he has ideas.
Yep.
Yeah, he loves being there. Clearly, the NXT crowd clearly loves him being there.
How can you not?
And NXT is in a great place.
Yeah, it is.